So Naveen, the next section is on people in the IT industry, right? So the pressure of being agile, C-level executive surveys are calling agility the most important characteristic of a successful organization. But what exactly does that mean, and how does it apply to IT professionals?
Look, agile in its simplest form means we are going through a transformation in terms of how we do business. As an example, just the way you pay money to a local vendor using, let's say, Paytm, wasn't something that was there a decade back, right? And that means that every organization, every business, every component of doing business is undergoing change and transformation, right? Now, that is only going to get better or faster, that change. You know what I mean? And that's what is agile. That's what means agile. So, for example, can my processes, let's say, can my accounting processes can become better? Can it be ready to face the digital economy? Is the first question, right? Every department undergoing this change, can I be agile enough? So, what you would implement certain systems and practices in a company, and you would probably hold it on for a decade. Now, that's not true anymore, right? I mean, in our business, for example, access to content is very different. New business models are going to evolve with that. People would buy a full book. Today, I don't think people want to read an entire book. As an example, right? I mean, they would say, Blinkist is a classic example of that. It concises, takes a book or takes a content material or a subject area and concises it into a 10 to 15 minute or less than 10-minute readable modules, right? That's a new business model. You're paying for that. So this is what being agile is. Can you be nimble enough to adapt and evolve your business to do that, right? IT, it's going to happen all the time. I'll tell you, when I started 2002, the systems that we built would hold on for 6 to 8 years. Today, platforms or products that you build, you got to refresh it pretty much every 2 years. And that's true of a restaurant here in Mumbai as well. You know, you will get bored if you see the same name, same interiors, same decor after 2 years. You'll stop going. There's too many new things mushrooming, right? And that's true for IT as well. You know, so platforms get refreshed. So that means that an individual is learning new ways. I mean, let's be honest, 5 years back, we were talking about data centers in my company. Today, we're talking about cloud. Who has their own data center with their own servers management, right? We're talking about cloud. Cloud, right? Your platforms run off cloud. Pretty much Instagram runs on cloud today. Imagine billions of people, right? Runs on their own. Private to public, it's a matter of debate, but it runs. So agility is probably going to be the most critical piece, you know, for a tech professional. And you don't need an engineering degree to be a tech professional. I mean, a guy is sitting in a garage at home with a laptop could become a smarter IT professional or IT technology specialist than you, you know. So agility to learn new things, new way of how domains are evolving has to be inculcated within, you know, with that agility. So that's very clear.
So that is what agility is all about, basically. Okay. Now, flexi timings and work from home, what's your take on it?
Oh, absolutely in for it. Okay.
Oh, flexi or
work from home, flexible timings, both. Most of the look, we never, in fact, our mindset, right? We have this hangover of being in the factory or industry era. Clock in, clock out. 8 a.m., 4 p.m. Clock in, clock out, right? I mean, in Bangalore, I remember there's a factory called Myco. Myco Bosch. Bosch is also there, right? All factory workers, clock in, clock out. Today, it's not about quantity. It's about outcomes today, right? I mean, how much, irrespective of whether I'm sitting in Goa on a beach, right, and having a drink, doesn't matter. It's about outcomes for an organization, right? So that flexibility you've got to give. People are maturing that way, that you don't need a top-down approach of seeing people as, you know, laborers. That world is gone now, right? You're talking about knowledge workers, so that's one. Work, I mean, who in his right mind in today's world wouldn't want to reduce his real estate cost? You reduce it by 20-25%. I mean, the real estate cost is never going to come down. An asset that somebody owns, an owner owns, is going to milk that asset. The cost of real estate is going to go up. Why wouldn't you want your people working from home rather than traveling and in this hell of a traffic, isn't it? So,
Do you think that will impact the quality of work because of that?
so it's two ways, right? It's two ways. So, an organization gives you blessings and says you got to work, but doesn't mean that you can take it for granted. It has to be two ways. That maturity will come, but I think the first step has to be taken by organizations, right? And make it a mandate saying, a day or two work from home. For example, if you were setting up a 100-man captive, you could have a 50-seater, only 50-seater with laptops. I mean, others work from home, you can rotate them and all that until that settles down, So, today with communication tools, I mean, we use a lot of, you ask a question about how do you communicate, I mean, do you communicate often with your teams, right? Of course I do. I am on technology, you see unified communications and communication tools, Slack to messengers to, online conference calling, we do it all the time. So, I don't think you can get away. Transparency, bottom up has always been good. You know what the guy is doing, whether he's on his seat or not, shouldn't matter to you as a leader, right? So,
as long as the work is getting done. Okay. Now, though this should not be a trend and should be a given, that playing should be set according to the talent and not gender. Yeah. Where are we in terms of gender equality at workplace or gender diversity for that matter?
Think about it, right? You are suppressed for 100 years. What equality are we talking about? I mean, the mindset isn't there, right? I mean, do you I don't know, I don't have an answer to this. Do you think when we were in Stone Age, only men used to go out hunting and women did not have the capacity? I don't know. I don't think that was true, to be honest, right? I mean, at that point, I don't think the intelligence was there saying, hey, you know what, you cook. Yeah, I mean, right? I mean, it was obviously survival of the fittest, right? I mean, you want to be that. So, it's centuries of suppression, you cannot change it overnight. You got to give those levers. So, that means that you got to put that gender equality card irrespective of performance or equality in performance. And I'll tell you what, a classic the thing I remember somebody telling me that, there was a meeting and there's only one lady, one girl who attended. And she was fiddling. And she shared an experience saying, the chairs, by the way, the ergonomics of a chair is only built for men. Just the body structure of women, it's not even considered. So, you're talking about at that fundamental gender inequality, you know what I mean? So, think about it. So, give it a decade, trust me, we consciously are doing equality, role recruitment, right? And I can tell you, give it a decade, they'll come up, And you're talking about 50% of the population globally representation is a really sad part now. Isn't it? I mean, Silicon Valley is male dominated today. I mean, from a tech perspective, talking about tech, right? I mean, people are coming. It's not easy for. I mean, it's just that in India, I know investors who think, oh, you know what? Will you run this for a decade? You'll probably have a family to take care of.
Yeah, you'll get married, maybe have kids, and those are the apprehensions.
Yes, and then you recruit. You'll say you will get. You're going to have a baby 3 months by law. What happens? But I mean. The wins there, maybe these are all cons, I don't disagree, but the wins there far outweigh the losses that might happen because of these, You're talking about 50% access to market, by the way, get them in, the thought process of your organization changes to access that 50%.
Great. Now, where do you think are the Indian companies in terms of focus on mental health of their employees?
Hardly any. I mean, it's a phobia, isn't it? Do you share? I mean, it's come out, I don't know, last week it came out with Glenn Maxwell, the Australian cricketer, saying he's going to take a break because of mental health. I mean, India, they'll say, pagal hai yaar. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a stigma still, right? So, I know for a fact that the captive that we had here, we built it on a build, operate, transfer model with a partner here. They had the facility and access to mental health at a confidential level. You could pick up the phone and 24 hours you could talk to someone if you had mental health or suicidal or any of these tendencies, But is that enough? No, I'm still not comfortable.
I think India as a culture is not very open to the whole thought.
You are got to be macho in India, you know, and that's really why women's empathy part. I'm not talking about sympathy here. Nobody wants sympathy, by the way. You know, whether it's feminism or being masculine, nobody wants sympathy. You want to create empathy, right? That's why empathy is not considered. Macho is considered. I mean, that's changing, by the way. The kind of movies, I mean, Bollywood is changing. You see, the industry is changing as well. So, yeah.
Okay, the VUCA world, a concept that was evolved from the US military, Army War College, and has been evolving since the acronym was coined in 1987 and has been used in strategy making with organizations. Would you think the world today is more VUCA than ever?
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, it's at an atomic level, it's changed, isn't it? You know, there's ambiguity in your life. You're vulnerable. You don't know where your business is going to be in the next 6 months. I mean, do you think my dad thought about it like that? His challenge was, can I manage my finances better? It was never about, oh heck, my bank is going to shut down. It was never a thought for him, right? So that vulnerability, the ambiguity in your career, right? He's always there today. Life was a lot slower just because of speed of change and speed of just the way we live life today. That's true. So that means that if we consider humans at the lowest unit, right? I'm not saying intellectually, I'm just saying everything else, organizations are built with human. So you start from layer 1, which is humans, where there is VUCA already. The thinking subconsciously already changed. That means that just the way you do everything else, transaction, communication, conversation, business, everything else has undergone change, you know. It might not be a concept of real time like in the military VUCA that it kind of came about, oh, you know what, I'm going to be extremely agile to these 4 patterns, right, of VUCA. But the reality is it subconsciously has in society. Yeah.
Now, do you see a divide between the millennial workforce and the pre-millennial workforce in the way they approach tasks?
Yeah, I mean, it's true for a fact that millennials or Gen Y, right, let's leave aside Gen Z, and past, I mean, if you kind of think about it, they don't worry so much about, I mean, at least, you know, millennials don't worry about owning things now, right? I mean, but that's at least becoming mainstream in India, right? That's why Uber is, I mean, how many people want to own a car now? Not many. Millennials feel it's just too complex, right? So they want to own experiences. Yeah, that's a fundamental shift. But in an organization, right, in India at least, I can tell you that they are, I don't know what the word is, but you need to handhold or lead them how much you need to lead senior level or mid-level folks as well. Okay, yeah, you know, they've got more access to and have an opinion on government, on large businesses that maybe the previous era did not have or generation didn't have, right? But otherwise, in an organization structure, it pretty much you need to lead both sides. Yeah.
Now, talking about the Gen Y, they're often accused of being an entitled lot. What's your experience or opinion about that? Do you think they are the entitled lots?
I don't think they're entitled. I think they're well informed. Like I mentioned earlier, I think they are well informed. They have an absolute opinion of, I mean, let's be honest. You know, I mean, at a very fundamental level, if you know, we all born after 80, right? 80 was when Gen Y and millennials are, right? So now, if you kind of think about it, these guys, we had more access to information. We were well informed, and hence we know that the most inefficient in the world is a government. Let's be honest, the amount of money a government spends to run the country, if you were to privatize a lot of these facilities, you know, you could pretty much, right? So they are well informed, right? Gen Y is well informed. But are they entitled? Of course not. I mean, if you look at it, you will say we were entitled in our previous era. That era was better entitled than previous. I mean, it's about change. You know, today we are in a digital world, so access to devices or technology is a lot easier than it was. So, but every era brings its own positives and negatives. The competition has also gone up, by the way, right? I mean,
so do you think the flip side to that is because of this, you're seeing more and more of innovation, disruption in the form of startups from this Gen Y or the millennials?
Well, look, that gets missed out, isn't it? If you think about it, you see a front guy, he's 30, 28, 30-year-old, is a billion-dollar unicorn, right? You don't realize all the backbone support that maybe the previous era is providing, be it in the form of investors, VCs, senior leadership, mentors that you asked about, right? So it's just that one person is positioned. Never underestimate experience of top people, is all I say. Experience in itself doesn't mean anything, right? But experience of some of these guys who reached pinnacle in their era, you can't underestimate that. These people, I'm pretty sure, are mentored by someone or the other to reach, and you also, me also, right? Directly or indirectly, we went through that. So, disruption and this, right? It's a factor of not only Gen Y's thinking or access to this. We can think better on a mobile than our fathers can, isn't it? We can use technology better than them. Doesn't mean we can disrupt things by ourselves. I'm pretty sure the fundamentals will not change. You know, fundamentals of doing business or, you know, will not be transformed. Will definitely become better. Will definitely, you know, fundamentals will definitely remain.